Barack Obama is an American politician, the first black president in the history of the United States, and a winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. His election gave hope to African Americans to overcome racism. Obama is often called one of the few politicians who has preserved humanity, even though not everyone agrees with this opinion. We will tell you all about his path to the presidency and life in retirement in this video. Barack Obama, how the 44th U.S. president lives and how much he earns. Barack Hussein Obama II was born in Honolulu, Hawaii on August 4, 1961. He was named after his father, Barack Obama Sr., a native of a Kenyan village, whose name in Swahili means the one who is blessed. The parents of the future president met while studying at the university in a Russian language course and got married 6 months before the birth of their son. Obama Sr. was already married in Kenya, but left his family with 2 children to go to America for a young woman, white American Ann Dunham. It was her first marriage. Soon after the child was born, they separated. Ann took her son and went to study at the University of Washington in Seattle, and her husband studied in Hawaii, then at Harvard, and finally went back to Kenya. It became impossible to maintain a relationship, and Ann, having returned to Hawaii to her parents, filed for divorce. Ann's second husband, Indonesian Lolo Soetoro, became the father figure for the future president. They lived in Jakarta for a while, where Obama Jr. attended a comprehensive school up to the 4th grade. There, Barack learned to eat snake and dog meat and fried grasshoppers, and kept a pet monkey named Tata. He doesn't have blood siblings, but he has 8 half-siblings, 7 on his father's side and his sister Maya on his mother's side. In 1971, Ann sent Barack back to Honolulu to her parents, and around the same time, the boy spent a whole month with his father, who briefly came to the States. The politician has very few memories of him. However, it was his father who gave him his first basketball and took him to his first real jazz concert. Since then, both basketball and jazz have been an integral part of Barack Obama's life. In Hawaii, the boy went to a prestigious private school where he faced racism for the first time. According to Obama, at that time, he suddenly realized that everything in this world was created for white people. Even Santa is white. By the way, at the time, his grandparents from his mother's side were engaged in Barack's upbringing. Since Ann only returned to the U.S. for a couple of years to finish her research degree, and then returned to work in Indonesia, Barack studied well and was a star of the youth basketball team. The president also confessed how during his school years he would experiment a lot with illegal substances, but managed to stop. In 1979, Obama graduated from high school with honors, and to the graduation party, he came in a show-white jacket with Megan Hughes, a student at the Hawaiian School for Girls. Then he went to Western College in Los Angeles, where he began dating Alex McNear. They worked together on a student newspaper. However, their relationship was fleeting. In college in February 1981, Barack made his first public speech, calling on the leadership to support the abolition of apartheid in South Africa. In the same year, Barack transferred to Columbia University to study international law. Together with some classmates, they rented a 3-bedroom apartment in Manhattan near campus. In 1983, he graduated with a degree in political science, and by then, he had already worked at an international business corporation and a New York research center. The salary was small, and he could only afford a very modest apartment in Manhattan. For a while, he lived there with his girlfriend, Genevieve Cook. It was his first serious relationship. They dated from 1983 to 1985, and she remembers Obama as a rather controversial person. According to her, his mood and attitude towards her could change instantly, from passion to complete indifference. He always had everything under control, and it was difficult for him to get close to people. The lovers liked to chat about books and eat Obama's favorite tuna and dill sandwiches. His beloved grandmother cooked them for him. And on weekends, as the woman recalls, Barack liked to sleep in and walked around the house half naked, dressed only in an Indonesian skirt. Genevieve was very jealous of other girls, especially dark-skinned ones, and as a result, the young people broke up. Then Barack Obama moved to Chicago and worked as a community organizer, dealing with the affairs of residents from rough parts of town. There he fell in love with his colleague, Sheila Miyoshi Jagger, to whom he even proposed, but the girl's parents objected to this marriage and she refused. In 1988, Obama took up his studies again and went to study law at Harvard University while managing the university newspaper. It is noteworthy that he became the first African-American editor of this publication. At the same time, as they say, the young Obama decided to try his hand at modeling for a pinup calendar, but was rejected by the Women's Committee. After his first year of law school, Barack began an internship at one of the largest law agencies in the United States. A Harvard graduate, Michelle LaVaughn Robinson, was appointed his mentor. She recalled that he caused a stir in the company even before he appeared in the office because the secretaries had been actively discussing his attractive appearance. The 25-year-old mentor, after looking at his photo, did not find Barack attractive, but he was struck by her beauty at first glance and began to persistently invite the girl on dates until finally she agreed. Michelle was bought over with his ability to influence people, incredible sociability, and depth. However, in September, when Barack returned to Harvard, the couple had to learn to maintain a long-distance relationship. Interestingly, few people believed in the long-term nature of their union, including the girl's relatives, but in 1991 they got engaged. Barack proposed in a Chicago restaurant, starting a serious conversation about the future, and when the waiter brought dessert with a ring on the plate, he got down on one knee. Their wedding took place on October 3, 1992. By the time his family life began, Obama had already graduated from Harvard and began teaching constitutional law at the law school at the University of Chicago. He was also involved in politics, joining the ranks of the Democratic Party. In his youth, Barack Obama already established himself as a notorious fighter for equality, and with this agenda, he was elected Senator of Illinois in 1996. Yet family life was not so bright. In the mid-90s, Michelle had a miscarriage, and when she decided to try IVF at the age of 34, due to her husband being busy at the Legislative Assembly, she had to cope with everything herself. In addition, Barack's salary did not allow him to provide for his family fully. At that time, he was earning no more than $30,000 a year. And when Michelle, who had been the breadwinner for a long time, gave birth to their eldest daughter, Malia, and went on maternity leave, the situation became even worse. At the same time, he refused to get a different profession, believing that his true vocation was politics. Another test fell in their lot after the birth of their second daughter, Sasha, when at 3 months the baby fell ill with meningitis. The couple's therapy helped them cope with all of their difficulties in marriage, which they did not hesitate to talk about. The couple found a compromise. Barack promised to devote more time to his family, and Michelle provided reliable support for him in his political career. While the Obama family was going through a crisis, he tried to get elected to the lower house of the U.S. Congress, but suffered a crushing defeat, which was the only defeat in his life. The loss forced Barack to work on his shortcomings, and in the end, it led to success. In 2005, Barack Obama took a post in the U.S. Senate, and from that moment became one of the leading figures in the political life of the country. At the same time, the financial situation improved. The salary of the politician jumped to $157,000 a year. In 2007, Obama decided to run for president, which Michelle wasn't happy about. She knew what their family would have to face and feared that the increased attention would negatively affect her daughters, but she still supported her husband throughout the election race. To get permission to participate in the elections, the politician promised his wife to quit smoking. He was able to fulfill it only in 2010 after several unsuccessful attempts. He even once joked that he did it out of fear of Michelle, whose informal comments were caught on tape. By the way, his wife is also very unhappy with the habit of leaving socks all over the house, but Barack never managed to cope with this. Obama got the nickname the People's President because he was supported by the common people. About $58 million in donations were collected as part of the campaign, and most of the amount belonged to middle-class Americans. On November 4, 2008, Obama won the presidential election, becoming the first African-American president in the history of the United States and the first president born in the 50th state and outside the continental U.S. Unfortunately, neither Barack's mother nor his father lived to see this moment, and his grandmother Madeleine, who raised him, died just a day before his election. Only his step-grandmother, Sarah Obama, was able to attend the inauguration ceremony. She was the third wife of the politician's paternal grandfather. Interestingly, the 44th president became the second after Franklin Roosevelt to take the oath the next day, as he made a mistake in it, confusing the order of words. After moving to the White House, Barack and Michelle Obama began to make changes to the interior of their new residence, adding a modern spirit, hospitality, and family comfort. For example, on the instructions of Mrs. Obama, several abstract works by contemporary American artists were hung next to the majestic dining table in the old family dining room on the state floor. It opened its doors to the public for the first time in history. A bust of Martin Luther King Jr., the work of an African-American sculptor, became a unique touch in the Oval Office of Barack Obama. Neutral tones in the updated interior created a working atmosphere, and as a reflection of the new president's sporting preferences, the White House tennis court has turned into a basketball court. To make the move to the new place easier for the daughters, who were 10 and 7 at the time, Papa Barack promised to give his girls a puppy. He indeed wanted to take a dog from a shelter as mongrels himself, but in the end, a 6-month-old hyperallergenic puppy named Bo was presented to the Obama family by one of the senators. And as compensation for the failure to fulfill the promise, the newly elected president donated to a charity fund to support rescue animals. In the White House, Bo was called the first dog of the United States of America, just like First Lady, and later, he even had a girlfriend of the same breed named Sunny. One of the main missions in the White House Barack and Michelle Obama saw was the return of hope for a better future. And in their statement, the Nobel Committee referenced that hope when they announced the awarding of the 44th U.S. President with the Peace Prize for extraordinary efforts in strengthening international diplomacy and cooperation between nations. In the spring of 2011, Obama announced his intention to run for a second term. Following the voting results, he again secured a place in the Oval Office for the next 4 years, and in January 2017, he transferred power to Donald Trump. One of the main outcomes of the Obama presidency was the health care reform, which provided for mandatory health insurance for every U.S. citizen. The set of reforms became the largest in this area over the previous 50 years and went down in history as the biggest initiative of the 44th president. During his years in the White House, Obama, according to an analysis of his tax returns, donated more than $1 million of his funds to charity with total earnings of $10.8 million before taxes. At the same time, most of the income, $7.5 million, came from sales of his books, Dreams from My Father, The Audacity of Hope, and Of Thee I Sing, A Letter to My Daughters. For the audio versions of the first two, he even received Grammy Awards, both for the best album of the spoken genre. Barack Obama's base salary as president was $400,000 a year. He also had access to a $150,000 expense account, a $100,000 tax-free account, and a $20,000 entertainment budget. As the former first person of the state, Obama is still entitled to several privileges. They include a pension of $240,000 a year before taxes, protection for him and his wife for 10 years after his resignation, and the cost of transport and food fully covered. After retiring, Barack Obama took some time off, traveling the world, rafting, and kite surfing, and having returned to the United States, he and his family decided to stay in Washington so that the youngest daughter Sasha could graduate from high school in peace. The ex-president admitted that after his resignation, he could finally get enough sleep, talk calmly with his wife, and have a leisurely breakfast, and only then get down to business. For example, to write a book with memoirs of his tenure as president, A Promised Land, which was released in 2020 and sold almost 2 million copies in the first week. Michelle Obama also successfully broke into the literary market with the memoir Becoming, and traveled on a tour of the United States and 6 European capitals. For the rights to their autobiographies, the couple received an advance of $60 million in 2017. Barack Obama also created several foundations of different orientations, united into one common structure, the Obama Foundation. Obama asks his friends and colleagues to contribute to his work. For example, on the day of his 60th birthday, he called on all concerned not to give him gifts, but instead to donate to an organization sponsored by him. Also in 2017, Malia Obama entered Harvard. The proud father later admitted that at the initiation ceremony, he barely held back his tears in the presence of his daughter. But then, the special services had to pretend that they did not hear the boss's sobs. By the way, the youngest daughter, Sasha, who didn't mind working in a restaurant during her school years, is also already studying at college at the University of Michigan. In 2018, the Obamas signed a deal with Netflix to shoot films and TV series and engaged in producing various projects for the service. Their first documentary, American Factory, won an Oscar in its category in 2020, and 2 more films were nominated for an Oscar and an Emmy. Also, several educational series for children about science, healthy nutrition, and civil rights were released on Netflix. In addition, the production company of the ex-president and his first lady has released 2 feature films. They are the comedy drama Fatherhood about a single father, and the drama What is Life Worth about a Washington lawyer who has to calculate the monetary compensation to the relatives of the victims of the 9/11 tragedy. Barack himself loves movies very much and often shares his favorites on social media. And Obama is also a well-known fan of Jay-Z's work. He has repeatedly said that he is perhaps the only president who has ever listened to his music in the Oval Office. He is on good terms with Jay-Z, and they agree on many things. They both adore their children. Both could not even think in childhood that they could achieve such heights in their careers, and both, as Barack jokes, have wives more popular than them. Obama is no stranger to self-irony, and he is quite satisfied that he is usually the main object of jokes in the family. He also often appears on comedy shows and once starred in a humorous advertisement for the online publication BuzzFeed to promote his healthcare reform. In it, Obama grimaces in front of the mirror, takes selfies, draws, and sends an imaginary basketball into the hoop, just like a regular citizen. By the way, another commercial featuring Obama was non-commercial and aimed at combating sexual violence. Most of the former president's income comes from fees from lectures and reports on topical issues. On average, one of his speeches cost about $400,000, and although some criticize Obama for cooperating with Wall Street and making motivational speeches to corporate executives, he gives a significant part of these fees to charity. For example, in 2017, he gave $2 million earned from speeches to help poor families in Chicago. Barack's wife also makes speeches and receives about $225,000 for one event. Their total capital is estimated at $70 million. And as the ex-president admits, he is surprised by such a large amount of money. The increase in income can be explained that with the departure from the White House, the couple's popularity hasn't decreased. Both Barack and Michelle are still among the most influential people in the United States, but he also has haters. One day, the ex-president, along with other recipients, received a parcel with an explosive device. It was intercepted by the special services just in time, and no one was hurt. Barack and Michelle are known for their love of affordable fashion. He appeared in public more than once in the same tuxedo, and she didn't mind outfits from mass-market brands, but sometimes they still indulge themselves with luxurious wardrobe items and accessories. For example, Barack has a Rolex wristwatch worth about $15,000. At the same time, in everyday life, the former president wears a fitness watch for $150. The former First Lady has Versace outfits and Jimmy Choo shoes in her wardrobe. In addition, after leaving the White House, Michelle was finally able to afford more unusual design solutions that suit her character. So at the presentation of her book, she appeared in sparkling Balenciaga boots for $3,900. And the former leader of the American people stays true to himself every week. He gets a regular haircut for $21 from his regular hairdresser at a salon in Hyde Park. The Obamas owned several houses. The one the family moved into after the White House was bought in 2017 for $8 million. The 8,200 square feet mansion is located in the Washington area called Colorama, which inevitably led to a cheerful rhyme, Obama Colorama House. It has a 2-car garage and an open mini parking for another 10 cars. Inside there are 9 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, several kitchens, a meeting room, a dressing room, and an office in the attic. The photos available on the internet were taken before the sale deal, so now the interior decoration may be different. The Obamas purchased their other estate on the island, Martha's Vineyard, a resort town in Massachusetts, for almost $15 million. The house by the ocean, with an area of 7,000 square feet, has 7 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, a kitchen, a swimming pool, an outdoor plunge pool, and a summer house. It was also reported that the couple looked for an apartment in New York, but it didn't work out. While still in Illinois, Senator Barack Obama drove a modest 2000 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Before that, he only had used cars, so the politician remembers the brand new Jeep with a smile. Many years later, having changed several owners, this car was put up for auction along with a bonus in the glove compartment. Notes written in Obama's handwriting, his business cards, and several receipts. After starting to work in the Senate, Obama switched the car to a Chrysler 300C, which in 2012 was put up for sale at an eye-widening starting price of $1 million. After driving a Chrysler for more than 21,000 miles in 2007, the politician changed it for a more eco-friendly, which corresponded to his presidential election program, Ford Escape hybrid SUV. But soon he returned it to the car dealership, since the president is not supposed to drive a car. Obama's work car was a luxury diesel limousine nicknamed the Beast. Actually, there are several identical cars at once, so the Secret Service garage is sometimes called a wild beast show. Each car is equipped with armor and can withstand direct shots from large caliber weapons. There is also everything inside in case of an attack: oxygen tanks, various types of weapons, and even containers with the president's blood for transfusion. The car travels with the owner, and there is a special plane for its transportation. According to polls in 2018, about 44% of U.S. citizens consider Obama the best American president of our time. And in 2021, he topped the list of the best presidents in history, gaining 18% of the vote, getting slightly ahead of Abraham Lincoln. What do you think is the secret to his popularity?
Let's face it, wonderful to be traveling anywhere these days.
If you like the video, leave a like and also subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss anything interesting.